Welcome back to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. This segment is brought to you by my company, Bull Realty. For customized asset and occupancy solutions, visit bullrealty.com or give me a call. Well, today we are talking with Daniel Burrus. He's founder and CEO of Burrus Research. He's author of 7 best-selling books, including the Anticipatory Organization, turning disruption and change into opportunity and advantage. And Daniel, we were talking a lot about kind of retail and what's happening in the world there. And office seems to be another big change where people are putting more people in less square footage, people more working at home. Seems like a lot of changes there. You're looking at this every day. You're looking at the future. You're looking at technology. What might we expect down the road for the office environment?
Yeah, let's remember that we live in a human world, not just a technology world. And some people are good at working at home by themselves, and they can manage themselves, and they do a great job. They thrive there, as a matter of fact. But there are a lot of people that need to be physically with other people. They need that team work environment. So I think we're going to continue to see offices needed. Secondly, there are offices that are needed where we see our customers, and they like to come to us. And there are a lot of businesses that have that kind of a office need. Third, we're going to be using more and more video conferencing technology like Zoom and Skype and others, because we have inexpensive, high-definition screens now that you can put into office spaces and even move them around, where you can, again, collaborate with others that are either at home or in office groups and have it work quite well. Matter of fact, I was just working with a Silicon Valley company, and I was consulting with them, and at the same time, I was working with people that were in Asia and in Europe and in Africa all at the same time. So there is a both and versus an either or future when it comes to office. Here's what I mean by both and versus either or. When something new comes along, we think the old goes away. It's either this or that, either the old or the new. But to really see the future, it's the old and the new. It's the key is how you integrate the two together. So we're going to continue to see people working at home. And we're going to continue to see offices, but we're going to be using more flexible space in those offices. Instead of a cubicle that you sit in and that's your cubicle and that's all that you'll ever be in, it'll be more collaborative and places that you can use. And maybe I'll use a different desk today because I have a different type of computer I need to work in front of. So there's going to be more flexibility. But my point is plenty of need for offices in this tech world going forward.
So if someone says to you, Daniel, hey, office space is going away. No one's going to need it. Everyone's going to be working in coffee shops and at home and in their flying cars and their driverless cars.
People that say that are always wrong. I think, once again, for 35 years, I've been right using the both and principle. I'll give you a quick example. Way back in late 80s, when CD-ROMs first came out, everyone was saying, well, there won't be any more paper. By the time we get to the early 90s, paper will be dead. And all books will be on CD-ROM. And if you read my stuff that I wrote back then, you'll hear me saying, no, that isn't going to happen. By the way, we're going to have more paper, and we're going to have more in digital, because there's going to be a lot more to write about and to talk about. And you're not going to be reading a novel like Moby Dick on a CD-ROM screen. But you will be using it for dictionaries and for encyclopedias. So those are the kind of books we'll put in a CD-ROM. And that's what I said in the late 80s, and that's exactly what happened, because I used the both and principle. So I'm giving all of our listeners one of the many strategies that I teach in my books and my writing about how to be right about the future. And this tip is, don't think either this or that. Think this and that. So we have plenty of room for office in the future.
And Daniel, if you were designing the office space of next year and the year after, what might you want to include in it that maybe you didn't have in your office space 5 years ago?
Well, I definitely want a screen so that I could do video conferencing on the fly easily, and be able to connect up and see the people that I want to talk to, show PowerPoints or whatever I want to demonstrate, and have that capability. And not just in one special room, because the last 4 or 5 years, there may be one room where you go to video conference, but you couldn't do it anywhere else. And now it's going to be, you could do that in any place, any station, because let's face it, you can do that with a laptop. You can even do it with a smartphone today. So to make that a convenient, easy way to work. Secondly, we'll have some guidelines for that, because do I want a video all the time? The answer is no. Sometimes a phone call is good enough. Sometimes I might need a physical meeting because I'm trying to establish a relationship with a client or a customer. So I actually don't want to be videoing. I need a conference room. So there's room to deploy different tools, virtual, real, conference room, office cubicle. The key is, you have a strategy for those to maximize what you're trying to accomplish. And right now, I would say no companies have a strategy. But those going forward the next year or two from now will start thinking much more strategically with coming up with some guidelines on, these are the best times you should be using video conferencing. These are the best times that you should be just doing audio. And these are the kind of things that you need to be talking to your customer or your client physically, or your team physically.
That's good advice.
I've already crafted some of those kind of guidelines and had companies really find good use in them. So that's kind of one of the big keys I see going forward. Obviously, we'll have 5G wireless, which will be blazingly fast as we look forward, much faster than today. So downloading documents, no matter how big they are, looking at video, streaming, or downloading anything is going to be extremely easy.
And before you have to go, Daniel, I want to get to another question for you. We're talking with Daniel Burrus, and he's a futurist, and he's been real good at predicting the future. And one of the things that we're hearing, Daniel, is that we're going to have less need for parking garages around commercial real estate, whether it's office or retail or other uses, and that these garages need to be able to be transformed to other uses in the future. What do you see?
I would be very careful about that. I know why they're thinking that, because they're thinking everything's going to be Uber and people will just be taking public transportation or hopping in an autonomous vehicle, because some people have been predicting that by 2025 there will be, all cars will be autonomous. There won't be any steering wheels or gas pedals needed, which, by the way, is not going to be correct either. Can you imagine Lamborghini or Ferrari selling a car that has no way to control it? What are they going to do? Say it's got nice seats, 200,000? I don't think so. I've had a Tesla for 3 years now, and I like it. It can drive itself, but frankly, I like driving it because I like to drive. You know what I don't like? Accidents. So what we're really going to be doing is more semi-autonomous, where we're taking the accident part out, so you can't even have an accident. But we're going to let you take control with that gas pedal and that steering wheel. And there are many people that are going to say, I don't need to buy and own a car. I'm going to use an Uber-like thing to get around. But there also, remember, this is the both and, not the either-or concept. There are going to be a lot of people that still want to have their own car, and they're going to do that. And that's going to be going quite a bit into our future. So it's a both and. I would say parking space-wise, if you're building office, you got to be thinking of parking. Maybe not quite as much. I might cut back maybe 25%, but I sure wouldn't want to eliminate it by 75%, because then I'm going to have a lot of customers going somewhere else.
Okay. And another theme we're seeing is with electric vehicles versus gas-operated vehicles, and that impacts commercial real estate as well. They need a place to plug in or not. What do you see there?
You better have the electric plug-in. It's been, up until today, it's been growing, but it's still a very small percent of the number of cars. However, if you look at the car manufacturers in Europe, in Asia, even in the United States, they're all starting to realize, you know what, got to go electric. Let's just take my Tesla, for example. I've had it for 3 years. I've had no service, no repairs. I haven't even been to the dealer. I don't need to. And I know 2 people that have 3-year-old Tesla Model X's, and they've got, both of them have 500,000 miles on the original battery. It's like, whoa. So give me a gas car that'll do that with no service. So I think it's a definite major revolution. The manufacturers are already doing it. And so you better have some charging stations set up.
And do you think those charging stations should be free to the user? Is that the future, or will they be willing to pay for it? Do you have an idea there?
Well, I think it depends on what you're doing. For example, if I've got an office complex and I've got a number of companies that are paying to be in that complex, I might charge the customers for charging their cars to be there because it's a commercial operation. However, if it's retail and these are customers, well, I probably will give them free charging because I want to encourage those customers to come. So it depends on, who's coming. Maybe there's a place for the customers to park and it's free, and a place for the employees to park and they got to pay a little fee because, let's face it, it's their gas station. We all have to pay for gas, and if we're plugging in and getting our energy in a different format, we still probably should pay for it. So it's probably, again, a both-and situation.
Right, that makes sense. Well, Daniel, it's always interesting to talk to you, sir. We appreciate you being on the show again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And remember, pick up a copy of the Anticipatory Organization if you want to learn more.
Absolutely. And we'll put a link for the show listeners and viewers out there. We'll put a link on our website at commercialrealestateshow.com. If you like less keystrokes, CREshow.com. Well, thank you for being with us. Let us know what you think. We appreciate you connecting with us on social media, and otherwise, feel free to reach out to me personally. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for America's Commercial Real Estate Show. America's Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty. For customized asset and occupancy solutions, visit bullrealty.com. Commercial Agent Success Strategies. Incredible training for commercial agents. Visit commercialagentsuccess.com.